She's on top of it. One of the amazing things Sephora did. Now she's recording, right? One of the many amazing things my wife did for Pesach is that we were looking for a Haggadah, because I only have a Haggadah that I have from Yeshiva. And the Haggadah that we have from Yeshiva is it's very stark. It's Rabbi Shach, who's the Rosh Yeshiva, Panovich Yeshiva. It's a Haggadah I use, very litrish, the whole thing, right? So, but we needed a Haggadah that we could both share and connect to. So anyways, we're walking in Meir Sharim. We're walking down the street in Meir Sharim. And so my wife says, look. We walk past the bookstore. She's like, look. So what was it? It was a Haggadah of the Hasidus of Masters. So why is this significant? Because when me and my wife first met, I was teaching a sefer written by Ari Kaplan called the Hasidus Masters. And so I was teaching the sefer, and it was my whole life. I just loved it so much. It was an introduction to all the Hasidic masters and the history of the Hasidic thought from the Baal Shem Tov all the way to present day. And it captivated me, and I was teaching it everywhere. And that's when me and my wife, before we were married, that she met me when I was in that process of teaching that particular sefer. So we're walking down the street, and what do we see? A Haggadah based off of the Hasidic masters. I didn't see it, my wife saw it. So when I saw it, I was just I told my wife, I was like, you know what? This is the next level. Because now I'm so invigorated, and it's a whole new level. So one of the stories, why am I telling this? Because one of the stories that the Haggadah brings is a story about a rabbi named Yissachar of Belz. So you've heard of the whole Belz movement, the whole dynamic? So Rabbi Yissachar was one of the main Gedolim of Belz history. And so it's a story about him, and it says like this. It says that right before Pesach, Erev Pesach, and everyone's burning chametz, someone comes and they deliver a huge bag of carrots to the Beis Midrash. So anybody knows anything about the Hasidim, they will have a Pesach Seder, and it could be 1,000 people there. You know what I mean? It's a huge situation. So there was a huge bag delivered. A gentleman delivered a huge bag of carrots to the Beis Midrash, and as the person who delivers it is leaving, he goes to Rabbi Yissachar, and he sees this big bag of carrots, and he immediately tells his Talmidim to throw it in the fire with the chametz. And so all the Talmidim are whoa, what's going on? But they don't question the Rebbe, right? That's the relationship we have with our Rabbanim. Not everyone, but the Rabbanim. We have that relationship where it's hey, if a Rabbanim says something, we trust, right? We trust that idea. And so he burnt all the things, right? So that's that part of the story. The guy who leaves goes back to the place where he did the delivery from, and he was talking to the lady who owns the place where the carrots came from, and she's telling him how excited he was, the carrots, and because he was a religious guy, he's a deliverer. And so the lady who owns the carrots, what does she say to him? She says, I'm going to tell you the secret. I'm going to tell you the secret of why our carrots are so big and how we have so many. He said, what we do is when we grow them, we take beer and we pour it instead of water. And the beer that we grow in it lets the carrots that grow bigger, the whole thing, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so the religious guy who's a deliverer hears this, and he's like, oh my goodness. What did I just do? I just delivered a huge bag of carrots that are going to be used for karpas, for people in their Seder table, and these carrots are mamish chametz, because beer is chametz. Mm-hmm. And so he's thinking what did I just do? I just ruined my entire existence. The whole community, So he gets on this horse, whatever it is, and he sprints over there. He sprints over there, and he's worried, he's concerned, the whole thing. And so when he gets to Rabbi Yissachar and his Talmidim, he's saying, don't eat the carrots, don't eat the carrots. And the Talmidim say, don't worry, we already put it in the fire. And he's like, wait, you put it in the fire, what's going on? And so what came out of it is that they said, no, the Rebbe told us after you left to put it in the fire. He's like, what? He said, can I please speak to the Rebbe? So he goes to Rabbi Yissachar, and he said to him, he says, Rebbe, I'm so sorry, I apologize. I apologize that I brought these carrots. They're chametz. The people grew them with beer. He's like, whoa. He says, Rebbe, how did you know to burn them? How did you know to put them in the fire? And so Rebbe Yissachar responds, and he says, I didn't know that the person who's growing these carrots were growing them with beer. But when I saw the carrots and they were for karpas, I said to myself, our ancestors never used karpas, never used carrots as karpas. That was never a part of our tradition. So he says, for me, it just felt weird. So because of that, I didn't want anyone to deviate from the tradition of our ancestors, so that's why I had them burned. But now you're telling me that those carrots were created with beer. They were created from chametz. So by default of me wanting to keep the traditions of my ancestors, we were able to be protected. So the point is saying on this whole idea is to say that the whole tradition of Pesach, the whole tradition of all these things that don't seemingly make sense and they seem like they're traditions, these are entities that have protect our tradition, protect us as people, has allowed us to live for thousands of years. No matter who the governments, who the powers, and who had influence, any of that, it didn't matter. The only thing that mattered that Hashem created the derek for his special people, for the people who have a specific role in this world, and as they stay on that course, that specific course that Hashem has created them, they've always been protected. And on this situation with this Rabbi Yissachar of Belz and this whole situation with the carrots, he had no idea of the outside dynamic. All he knew, he was different from his ancestors. And so from that place, he protected his community. So we should all be zoche to keep the traditions of our ancestors, the path, the simplistic things of our ancestors, and trust that to be our mechanism to stay safe and continue the tradition for the next generation. That's all.